All right, hello and welcome everyone to another Will Pop Vinyl update. Going to be going through some collection updates in this video, as well as talking about some of the prep that I'm doing for my upcoming trip to Japan, which is looking like an increasingly big trip that will hopefully have plenty of opportunities for me to explore record stores there. So why don't I start with Japan, because I think that's going to be probably more unique content. Not everyone gets to go. For context, my wife is Japanese, and we have a daughter who's 4 years old. And we took her once when she was 2, and that was a really disastrous trip. I found some great stuff while I was there shopping records, mostly in Shibuya, which has a lot of the record stores in Tokyo, although there's a lot more now that I've begun to research. But I really didn't know that much about collecting at the time, and I had not done any preparation in terms of like trying to figure out what I should be looking for in Japan. So I'm much more focused on trying to figure out like what's the type of stuff I can only collect in Japan, or I would have to pay a big premium in the US. You know, there's a couple sellers on dgoHn that specialize in Japanese pressings that are shipping from the US, like Mayon USA and Face Records, but obviously they're getting their inventory from Japan, getting it over here, and then upcharging for the convenience. And with the yen being relatively cheap compared to the dollar, I'm hoping that I can score some stuff at a discount-ish, you know. So let's talk a little bit about the research process. I've been approaching it from two angles. There's obviously like searching where to go, and then searching what to buy, and searching what to buy, I mean, not just like what things should cost, but also actually getting into types of music or looking for artists that are Japanese that might, that I not just haven't been exposed to for whatever reason. And so yeah, those are the two angles I'm going from. The where to go, I was covering, well, I'll say one angle of this, and hopefully no one just turns off the video here, but as just part of my own practice of like getting used to new tools, I've been trying to use AI, LLMs and prompting to come up, using them basically as a glorified search engine, right? So I've been using Claude for this, and I found it's very mixed. Like it's pretty good, I would say, at prompting up, hey, I'm going to this neighborhood. What are some record stores there that I should look at? And I feel like based on what I've cross-referenced against like other people's content on YouTube, it does a fairly good job of helping isolate the places that you might want to go. So it's been okay for that, although I've since leaned into more like YouTube sources. It's also been fairly good at music recommendations up to a point. So for example, I thought like, I'm really into collecting jazz right now. So what's some Japanese jazz? Like I know there's a lot of Japanese jazz. So what should I look for? And right away, it pointed me towards a number of records that I liked, primarily from the Three Blind Mice label. And so a bunch of those are on my want list now, and I'm going to continue exploring that label and kind of other jazz labels from that same period, as I'm finding there's a lot of like really good post-bop and modal jazz that I want to like learn about and potentially add to my collection. It got a lot worse when I tried to go other places, like ambient. I told it like, I'm already looking for Hiroshi Yoshimura stuff. What else can I try to look for there? And it gave me some good ideas. For example, like Satoshi Ashikawa, who worked as a collaborator with Hiroshi Yoshimura, has an album called Still Way, which is very much in that Music for 9 postcards vibe, but probably more affordable and just like, but it was great. I really liked listening to that. But it kind of ran out of steam pretty quickly. It gave me like Inoyama Land, Midori Takada, Kokobo Takashi, Get Out the Wave record, which is like unfortunately a picture disc, but it doesn't, no one seems to be complaining about it. Maybe Japanese picture discs sound good. And the place it really failed me was electronic music. So I gave it some styles of electronic music that I like, and it came up with suggestions. And the biggest issue I found was like that the suggestions often didn't actually have records associated with it. So a lot of the stuff in Japan, from what I'm seeing at least, or I've found, is CD only releases. So even though I would ask the model, hey, please only give me record pressings, albums that have record pressings where the originals are in Japan, because that's what I'm going to be looking for, it would then spit out a ton of lists, which is great for my exploration. But then when I go to cross-reference it against dgoHn and actually add it to my want list, I see there's no record there. The other huge limitation. And I was actually super curious about why this is. I was talking to a friend of mine who's like much more into AI, is if you ask it to provide links. So I thought the way around this is to say, like, make me these recommendations and only, and also pair them with a Discogs link so I can go look. And the model very quickly would start listing and it would put Discogs links in there, but then it would keep listing and it would just stop supplying the links. So it would kind of ignore the ask. And then every single time I clicked on one of the Discogs links supplied by the model, it would go to a completely different entry, often not even the same artist. So it's very bad at that kind of retrieval, because of the way the models work. And to paraphrase my friend's explanation to me, they're not actually doing research, they're doing inference. So they're guessing, using probabilistic guessing models to create their responses. And so the model doesn't literally go to Discogs, run the search, and return the link to you. It just is coming up with the string, the URL string, based on probability. And of course, it's not going to land on the exactly right thing. So very strange that there's this disconnect between what the model knows and can surface for you and then what it absolutely fails to deliver. So still kind of working on the electronic side, but I'm very happy with where I'm going on the jazz and ambient side. And plus, I'm also going to be looking for things like, well, I will save more of what I'm looking for specifically for another video, probably. But I want to shout out some channels that have also been really helpful to me in trying to figure out where to go and to some degree what to look for also. So Deep Groove Mono is someone who I imagine is kind of in a similar situation to me, where it looks like he goes to Japan once a year because he also has a Japanese partner. And we're probably going to be tracking towards going once every 1 to 2 years moving forward after this trip. So he always posts an annual video about his record haul and some of the places he's gone to. So that was helpful to me. There's a really great channel called Ricefield Records. I don't know this guy's full story, but it looks like he probably lives in Japan, and he does very thoughtful videos breaking down neighborhood by neighborhood in Tokyo. I think he's only done Tokyo so far, just showing all the record stores basically, from what I can tell, and talking a little bit about their owners or about their history, about what kind of music they carry. And that's been great because, some of the places I'm just not going to want to go. Like, there's a surprisingly large number of record stores that are just like dedicated to hardcore and punk and metal, and the odds that I'm going to find something that I want in there are really low. So now I know I can save myself the time and the steps of going to those places. Tokyo Brian, or Tokyo Record Style, also has a bunch of videos, usually more talking about specific stores or experiences, but I found those to be very helpful. Analog Attack is another creator out there who's done a fair amount of, I don't think he's in Japan. I can't tell from his videos, but it seems like he goes or has gone in the past and chronicled all that. And then Sakuzan is a jazz collector who, I guess he creates content about a lot of different jazz, and he had a great video about like kind of getting into Japanese jazz. Although ironically, a lot of the stuff that he ended up recommending or talking about in that video, it didn't seem like he really liked that much, and then I didn't really care for it. So I've had a lot more success just doing my own research between the Claude model and then Discogs itself. So all that being said, like, where am I going to go? So we're going to go to Tokyo. And obviously, one of the things I've learned about Tokyo, and actually I wonder if I should try to pull up my map here and see how this screen sharing is going to work. Let's see, I'm doing this all live, so let's see how this might work here. I'm actually going to pause really quickly so that way I can make sure this looks good. Be right back. All right, so I think this is as good as it's going to get here, trying to overlay myself on top of the map. But as you can see, I've got a lot of pins. I think most or all of these are going to be record stores. Some might be restaurants and other points of interest. But the record stores tend to be clustered into neighborhoods, and getting between neighborhoods takes maybe 20 to 30 minutes depending on how you go. Tokyo is walkable, but it's also extremely big. I mean, for context, like, all of this is basically Tokyo, over to here. It's just an enormous city in terms of square miles or square kilometers. So you kind of have to plan around it. You can't really probably do more than 1 or 2 neighborhoods in a day, especially with the hours that record stores tend to operate on. So the first place we're going to be is in Shinjuku. So this kind kind of north of the main area, Shibuya here, and like this is kind of like the Times Square of Tokyo. And I've got a number of spots already picked out here. Disc Union Shinjuku for jazz. So Disc Union's a chain, and they have a lot of the neighborhoods tend to have one Disc Union store, sometimes two, and they vary between kind of having everything or being specialized. And so there's another Disc Union in Shibuya that is like rare groove and jazz that I think is more high-end stuff. I don't know if they all share inventory or how it works, but yeah, they have this pretty good system there where this chain is worth going to, even though as an American you would think it's not really worth visiting a chain. But lots of independent ones here too. House Records, Record City, Red Ring, Vinyl Secondhand Records. So these are all ones I'm going to try to hit up probably on the first full day there, before we head to Osaka, because we're just going to do like a day and a half in Tokyo, then head to Osaka. Another place that I really want to visit for jazz is Judgment Records. This should only be about a 20-minute walk or a 2-stop ride on one of the subways, so I'm hoping I can make it up there. I don't think I'm going to make it as far out as Nakano. There looks to be some really cool shops over here, and the Ricefield Records guy did a great video about this neighborhood also, but it's just a little far out, and there's no other attractions out there for us as visitors, as tourists. So yeah, once we leave Shinjuku, we're gonna go take the train out to Osaka. And Osaka is a smaller city. I have not been there yet, so I shouldn't talk like I know, but we're gonna be staying down in this area down here called Namba, and it's more condensed, I should say, compared to Tokyo. The Namba has I haven't put them all on the map yet. There's some down here in the Namba area that don't look like they're going to appeal to me, but since we're staying near the area, I think that it'll be worth probably just, this is all going to be very walkable. But I've got Mint Records here, Rubik Records, and Soundpack Nipponbashi. And I thought there was like another one here. This is Udon, Chitose Bekkan. And then just north of the river here, which would also be walkable or an easy train ride, is another neighborhood called Amerikamura, and there's lots of record stores here that I'm going to hope to hit up. And then depending on how the trip goes, if we find some time to go to Umeda, there's a few up here as well. So yeah, Osaka seems to be an interesting place to dig. I don't know how the pricing and the selection is going to be. Just Japan in general seems like it's very good for vinyl record shopping. So again, I'm super excited. This is the most preparation I've ever done for a trip like this. One of the things that we're going to do while we're in Osaka is a lot of day trips. So we will be going over to Kobe for a day trip, mostly to check out some shrines and there's gardens up here, and to get some Kobe beef lunch. It's a short train ride over, but there is also another dense cluster of record stores down here near a historical Chinatown, which could be cool to check out too for some I'm sure they have awesome food there. So I'm going to try to check a lot of these out, time permitting, and their individual store hours permitting. And once we're done with the Osaka portion, we'll be jumping back to Japan, back to Tokyo. And over here, again, lots of more places to explore. So Shibuya has a huge cluster of record stores, and hopefully a Leclair Tokyo. If you're in the US and you like beer, they have a Leclair outpost there, so I want to go hang out there for a bit. But yeah, here's that Disc Union Shibuya Jazz Rare Groove. A lot of them say CD store, but they also have records. And there's a Face Records out here as well. Some record stores only have Japanese names on the map. I don't know what this one's actually called off the top of my head. So quite a few down here. Disclanjaro, Union Records, Shibuya. So lots of places. Here's another Face Records over here also. What else do we have? Oh, so the kind of the last big cluster is over in Shimokitazawa, and there's a lot of thrift stores, vintage stores, and then a lot of record stores here. So we went here last time, and I remember this Disc Union being pretty cool, so I'll definitely go back to this one. But we've got a lot more flagged here as well. So what it was, let's take a look. Like Jet Set was one of them, Nat Records, Fun. I don't know if I'll be able to make it down to Rana. This is a little bit out of the way for us. Or Harajuku, Chicago. Oh no, that's a used clothing store. There is a place over here too that's called Ella Records or Vintage. And this, I don't know if I'm going to go because, like, on the one hand, it seems kind of easy mode. This is a place that has a website. I think they also sell on Discogs. But this Outpost, they have another proper store, but this one is like their high-end shopping experience where you have to make a reservation. And as part of the making the reservation, you have to say exactly which records you want to listen to and consider buying. So it's not a browsing experience. They have a lot on their store. I mean, we're far enough out from the trip that it's not really worth it for me to look now because who knows what's going to turn over, but they have a lot. So it almost feels like it would be too easy just to go there. Like, it seems like they'll have a lot of what's on my want list and just kind of buy it all. And from what I understand, you don't really get discounts in Japan. They don't really do haggling. So yeah, I don't know if that's really the experience I want. If they have something that I absolutely want to get, maybe I'll try to make a appointment just for one thing. But yeah, I don't know how I feel about that. It's a little bit of a strange experience. And what else? I mean, that's kind of it. I mean, we've got a lot of other food places and stuff. Those are the three main areas that I'm looking to shop. There is another area over here that I might get to visit. This is Jimbocho. This is like the bookstore area. It's near Tokyo University, or the Meiji University. And there are some cool record shops over here as well. So perhaps on the day that, I think there will be a day where I'm going to go do an Imperial Palace tour. And so after that, yeah, coming up here to check these out and probably grab something to eat. It's really all going to come down to like how much I've already bought at that time and how heavy my bag is getting. So I'm starting to think, my want list for Japan is getting long, and I don't want to be hauling heavy records the entire trip. So again, anyone who's got good experience buying vinyl internationally that wants to throw me some advice in the comments about how to get this stuff back safely. I think my plan right now is just to put mailers in my bag and use those to like fortify to make sure stuff doesn't get damaged in a checked bag. So that's kind of where I'm looking at going. Obviously, when I'm there, I'm going to take a lot of pictures and video where I can to kind of relay the shopping experience to everyone. All right, so that's going to conclude the Google Maps portion of this video update. That's kind of where I'm at right now in the Japan process. I'm going to make another video that's probably going to be very Discogs focused, kind of talking about some of the stuff that's on my want list, because I, kind of exposing or revealing like where my research has led me. But I want to save that for time, and also I still have another month or so, more than a month of preparation to kind of get that done. But before we wrap this up, I did want to talk about some recent stuff that I bought just for the collection in general here in the US. So some of this is from Discogs, some is from Bandcamp, some is from actual shopping in New York as usual. So I'm just going to kind of go in the order that they're in my lap. So first here, I've got a Undesignated Proximate by dgoHn. So this is a 2020 release on Love Records. And I got this, I'm pretty sure, I got this over Discogs. And I found out about this artist. This is an electronic artist, kind of like drum and bass, electronica, just kind of like really good electronic music, kind of right in the pocket of what I like. And he had a 2024 release called Alterations in Gyral Form that I'm still looking for. Doesn't seem like anyone's really carrying it in the US. The stuff is pressed in the UK. But when I found out about that 2024 record, I immediately went and listened to his older work. This is also awesome. And this one turned up somewhere in the US. Someone listed it. I forget exactly who. And I grabbed it at a pretty good price considering it was already here. I didn't have to pay for the shipping. Still looking for his 2024 one though. But yeah, this is awesome. It's three LPs, so I can't even fit them all in the back of the sleeve like I normally would. But really like this one. It sounds great. I was playing it the other day. And another new one that I got through Bandcamp is Discovery Zone. So this is a weird one. I would recommend this for anyone who's into more ambitious stuff. This is off of Revenge International, and the album is called Library Copy Do Not Remove. And so Discovery Zone, I didn't know too much about them, but got this in a Bandcamp email, listened to it. I thought it was really cool. It's definitely like abstract, electronic, maybe you can call it ambient or a sound collage. It was created as part of a installation at a exhibit in Berlin in 2023. So this is just a soundtrack to that, and then I guess they decided to go ahead and release it. And these are all still available on Bandcamp. If you like it, you can buy them directly from the artist that way. And this one is like a silk screened a screen printed cover that was signed, just the JJ there, signed by the artist themselves. So just figured that, you know, the price was like $1 more, so I grabbed that version. And it's cool. It's weird, but it's cool stuff. All right, another new one from Bandcamp. I got this on the pre-order. Is Shelter by Sage, and the other guy is named, what's his first name? Chaz Prymek. So yeah, I got into Sage last year thanks to I think mostly thanks to Dom, if I remember right. And this is just another ambient electronic jazz type record. I quite like this one a lot. You know, I think in a previous video I talked about older Sage record I picked up without listening to it that I didn't really care for as much. This one's really good, and it's got the transparent yellow vinyl here. So this is a new 2026 release, and this was on AKP Recordings is the label, and I bet this is still available on Bandcamp if you went and looked. Another new one, Musique for Stillness by Harlan Silverman, and this one just came out also in 2026 on International Records. I missed it though. I feel like I didn't see the email for this. I might have just clicked away from it too quickly, but I quite like this. It's just very chill, kind of like flute or reeds music, abstract ambient jazz. I really like this record. We've played it a number of times already. Like this has the potential to be on a year-end list for me so far, or at very least one of the most played 2026 records in the house. I chatted to Dom briefly about this, and he recommended I check out some of the other work from this guy. He's in another band that I called, let me click through here, the Cosmic Tones Research Trio. So definitely going to check them out. It looks like they have 2 albums, but I haven't listened yet. But quite like this, and you know, you look at that cover. I mean, that cover would be probably an instant buy for me. But really good. I really like this. Let's see. I want to make sure I get the title of this right because it's not listed on here. I actually maybe didn't even add this one to Discogs yet. But so this is Matthewdavid's Mindflight, Trust the Guide and Glide. So Matthewdavid is an artist who makes electronic music, often sample-based, although this is more of like an electronic drone ambient record. And I think this is from 2020 or so. I mean, the record cover is awesome. I love that. So lots of long tracks on here. 8 minutes is like the shortest track. It's 2 discs. And yeah, it's on Leaving Records. And I think if I remember right, he works at the label or founded the label. Man, now I really need to double check. So I'm going to type for a second. I know that's not good form, but I don't want to get this wrong. And he made some other work that I really liked. I think I talked about in a different video. Yeah, he's a co-founder of Leaving Records. Okay, so that makes sense. So he had a record called Uncleared that I really liked back from 2024 and ended up buying that one. And yeah, this is just a 2016, so I got the year wrong. But anyways, he's really cool. I have to dig into more of his music. But yeah, this one's awesome. It's just ambient, drone-y stuff. And I'm pretty sure I got that from someone on Discogs. All right, so then let's do this one next, because this is another jazz record from this year. So we've got Happy Today, the Jeff Parker Quartet. Probably if you're looking at this channel, you probably like this type of music. I've big into the other quartet releases that he's done in the last few years. This one is maybe growing on me, I should say. Switching the hands here. Yeah, definitely growing on me. It's more chill than the others. It's only one disc instead of two, so you've got two long sides, two long improvisations. But yeah, I mean, this was just a instant pre-order. They didn't really put that much of a sampler up to get the vibe, but it's cool. It finds some good grooves. There's just some times where it gets a little bit too quiet, maybe, or a little just too relaxed. But still happy to have it, happy to support. I'll definitely be looking forward to whatever they do next. Okay, so now here's some stuff I got mostly in person. Did a swing through New York 2 weeks ago, and obviously had to go to Ergot. And they had the Marc Leclair, I'm going to butcher the French here, Musique pour trois femmes, Enceintes or Enceintes. Not sure. But I had seen this come through. I think I'm on the label's email, which is how I found it. No, maybe not. Community Music, ISC Hi-Fi Selects. I'm not sure how I heard about this, or maybe it was TikTok. But yeah, this is a reissue, a 2026 reissue of work that this artist put out in the early 2000s or like 2010s on CD. And this is really good. This is kind of just like glitchy sample bass, but like glitched out, but also still kind of ambient-ish. Like it's not abrasive, I would say. It's just got lots of glitches and pops along. I don't know, this is just kind of like the type of electronic music I like. So I remember hearing about this, never ordered it, and then they had it in the bins there at Ergot. They tend to get a lot of the stuff like a month or two after it actually releases and put it out there. So I actually threw the record on my headphones again to remind me what it sounded like, and got very into it after a couple tracks while I was browsing everything else. And so I grabbed this, and then off the wall there, they had two early Blue Note monos, first press monos, that were really affordably priced because of primarily the sleeve condition, and then secondarily the record condition. So these sleeves, I would say, are, depending on how generous you want to be, like, I don't know. I'm actually not really sure how to grade sleeves as much as records. So I don't know if you would call these like pours or fairs or G+. I'm not really sure, but they've got a lot of wear on them from their 60 plus years of existence. So the first one here is Night Dreamer, Wayne Shorter. This is the 1964 mono Blue Note pressing, and it plays fine. I mean, the sleeve, I'm not going to take it out because I think this one, the sleeve is like just completely disconnected, like the spine is destroyed. But the record itself is probably VG. It looks worse than it plays. You know, I ran it through the cleaner, and there's a little bit of crackle here and there, but there's no big pops, there's no skips, no jumps. It plays all the way through. And for me, I kind of expect, like, when you get some of this older stuff, it's not going to be perfect. So considering the visual condition of it, it plays awesome. And this was, again, priced based on the condition. Probably from the same collection, I have to imagine. They had My Point of View, Herbie Hancock. This is also, this is a 1963 mono Blue Note. And similar story here. The record itself plays absolutely fine. You know, lots of noticeable crackle in the quieter passages, or especially at the beginning of each side when the record is kind of like coming in and finding the first track. But nothing that really stands out in terms of disturbing the music, at least on my system. And yeah, this one, the sleeve probably presents better on the front, but I think it has similar issues where if you start opening it up, you see there's splits and other damage. So yeah, priced appropriately, and yeah, happy to have these because I can play them and I don't feel like I paid way too much for them. So great trip to Ergot there. Picked up another dollar brand record. This one I actually got on Discogs from that Philadelphia Musique. I forget they had recently, even I think Discogs was even promoting the fact that they had come into this huge Philadelphia jazz collectors collection, and they've been piecing it out on Discogs, and this was one that went up there. from the Enya label, or Enja. This is Children of Africa, the white label version. So this was actually sealed when they sent it to me. It was an unopened copy, which is funny. And it's got the little corner clip there, which you sometimes see on older records. But yeah, plays awesome. And the track in particular, Ishmael, is like one of the reasons that I really wanted this one. But yeah, this is getting me close to having most of the Dollar Brand stuff that is on my want list currently. And lastly, a stunty pick from Mississippi Records, Aman. So you can still get this on Discogs or on their website or on Bandcamp. Greek and Anatolian Laments. So this is a lot of music from the early 20th century, like going back even I think as early as like maybe the 20s or 30s. I forget what do they write the years? I think on the website you actually see the years where each of these tracks is sourced from. They went back to the original source material of these recordings. And I don't know if they digitally cleaned it up. But I remember seeing a description on the website. So some very, as Stunty put it, like ancient, timeless music here that I would kind of put in my compilations corner of just interesting stuff to throw on to just hear something different. And it's got that cool, like, Mississippi does a great job with these record covers when they do these reissues or these compilations. So this is one to check out if you just want to hear something different, and it's not super expensive. It's a 2026, just, you know, a new release. And that's kind of it. So that's where I'm at. I'm probably not going to do too much more shopping until New York Vinyl Con, which is coming up in a couple weeks. And between that and the Japan trip, I've actually been going through my collection pretty aggressively and trying to find more stuff to sell, to fundraise, so I don't feel bad when I go to Japan and I'm like all of a sudden confronted with, you know, hundreds and hundreds of dollars worth of stuff that I want to buy. So I've definitely been culling the collection as I go through and clean it and listing stuff, hoping more stuff sells. And that's it. So hope you all enjoyed. Thanks for watching, and I'll be back again soon with more Japan content for sure. All right, later.